Good Saturday evening, Dolphin fans, football fans, college football fans, whoever you want to be. Welcome to Fins Talk Overtime. It's been a while, a really long while. We're happy to all be together. Greg, Bret, hopefully we can do this a little more often. I guess Christmas came early for the three of us this week. So all I could say, we had a lot to talk about. We had to find the time to all get together before the holidays, before we all venture off doing our own thing. Greg, Bret, how you both doing tonight?
Good. I mean, well, Christmas kind of came early in the year too when Greer was he agreed to part ways, which means he was nicely fired. So but I mean, yeah, now that I think means that the chapter 2 is done, so we'll see what happens. But I'm feeling pretty good as far as that goes. Well, we'll get into a little bit more.
We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Greg, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. As you can tell, I'm not quite in my normal setup right now, so I am in Gatlinburg, outside of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, in a cabin. Just me and my wife celebrating a little long weekend before Christmas, before all the insanity starts. So,
That's awesome.
having a good time so far.
Yeah, I'm venturing tomorrow, and then I'll be in and out if I can make it on pregame, and then I'll be on in postgame. But I'll be doing it from I'll be doing it from the states. I'm going to be upstate New York tomorrow, and then I'll be in the Big Apple for the week because my kids are off for 2 weeks, and my wife tells me I can't be home with them for 2 weeks while you sit and work and take it easy. So we're going away. So I do what the wife tells me to do, and then that's how we all survive, right? That's how we all survive.
That's true.
So guys,
Absolutely.
before we get into Dolphins and everything going on in the NFL, it was. I must tell you, except for the game that just took place, where Lane Kiffin might be, he left a very good Ole Miss team that had a little bit of fun with Tulane. Last night was a very entertaining college football game. This college football playoffs, as advertised, was pretty intense the first two games. So good for the U. The U is going to be that defense is something else, but they're going to have quite a. I think you're going to have a few Twitter wars next week, Brett. Next on Christmas on New Year's Eve between you and all the U fans, because you'll be. I'm sure you'll be watching that game.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but no, but Ole Miss looks like a fine. Had no trouble with Tulane. Tulane did not belong there, I think, today. And like Alabama, like Oklahoma just choked that away. But I must tell you, the college playoffs is very, very interesting. But what I found very interesting, I just want to get your takes on both of them. Like to find good kickers, is you're not finding them much in college, eh? Like some of these kickers cannot kick 20. Look like they were like hitting
I have
bricks
a
before
theory
they
on
took
it.
these kicks today.
So I'm not a kicking expert, but I feel like there's a reason. And I really feel like you know how the joke is like kickers are players too. Like the whole joke is like kickers don't matter, this and that. A kicker doesn't matter until you need one.
Yeah,
And we've seen teams like go get a veteran kicker. And I'm starting to feel like kickers, it's kind of like golf. Sometimes you have guys who are really good at a young age, and sometimes it just takes them a little bit of time to really start getting a rhythm. But I don't think they're being developed all that well at all.
no,
I just don't think there's the coaching is there, and I don't think they're putting an emphasis on the coaching of it from the special teams perspective as much as they probably should. And I know I'm not saying it's like as important as quarterback, but coach them up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think every school is doing that.
yeah, no, because Oklahoma, the kicker last night, just a side note, was one of the top kickers in the country, and he struggled. I think the kickers today for whether it was Miami or whether it was Miami's kicker could not was one for four,
Yeah,
one for
yeah, he
four,
missed.
and he really didn't want to get out there. But you want to
But
know?
that's why you don't play for field goals. That's why
Yeah,
Mario Cristobal is a handicap because
yeah,
he plays for field goals, and we've talked about that plenty of times in this show. And it kind of goes right into that. And you go against Ohio State, who has electric offense, but Ryan Day is also known to get a little bit too conservative in big games. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so like that's what happens, and kicking the football is not easy in a
no,
sense.
no,
I think like if the kicker goes 3 for 4, that's good. In baseball, if you go 3 for 4, that's damn good, right?
oh, it's amazing.
You're right. So, like, if you go 3 for 4, you had a hell of a day.
Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
Right. So, as a kicker, 3 for 4, yeah, he's a pretty good day. You hope he goes 4 for 4, but you can't be mad at him for missing one field goal. So, it's like, stop relying on your kicker so much because that's 5 total kicks he would have to kick, right? Because a touchdown. So, that's just
Brett,
Well,
point of view.
Greg, have you been able to
and
follow a little bit of what
you
happened in
could.
college football the last 24 hours?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's You play good defense and you run game and you try to kick field goals. I mean, that's modern football, I guess. That's what everybody wants to do. But
Yes.
honestly, a kicker probably cost Notre Dame the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the second game of the year, he missed an extra point against A&M, and they lost that game because of it. I mean, and you know what? If you're going to have a big time program in college football, you better have a guy who can make kicks because you're going to need them. You can't losing early, losing late because of a kicker is just not acceptable anymore. So.
Right.
Well, if you think about the Dolphins this year, they brought in Riley Patterson, who's never been able to kick a 50-yard, never kicked a 50-yard in his life, and he's been great. Like I don't know why they we'll talk, but like Jason Sanders is off they pick him up. He's in the 21-day window. I have no idea why they're bringing him back. Riley Patterson's been fine, so I don't understand the purpose of that. But you know what? I'm going to give you because it's a sideline. There's like sort of like the reason I'm leading into what happened with Miami was a little bit because obviously Dolphins, Miami, the U. Honestly, the most entertaining thing for me is watching Michael Irvin. Like, come on, like a guy really loves his school and he's on the ground, like barking like a dog, kissing Mario. Like, I think that's pretty hilarious. Like, that's pretty cool that a guy actually. You don't see him on the sideline of Cowboys games, but you see him on the sideline of Hurricane games. But no, it's pretty cool. But the sideline was, which was, I'm sure you guys all saw it, was that Tony fumbled the ball and the defense saved him. But you know what? I got to give credit to Shannon Dawson and that team. And you guys will segue. You give the ball to your best players, and they're going to make the explosive plays for you. So Carson Beck was a hindrance today. He could not make a pass, so they relied on Fletcher and Tony to make the plays for them when it actually mattered. That actually does matter because in the end, who cost the A&M the football game today? Their quarterback. Because Reese was not very good today. He was awful today. And he was a running quarterback who did not look comfortable in the pocket through three turnovers. So it reinforces your point, which we're going to talk about the Dolphins, is what's been their problem all season, is the lack of explosiveness and playmakers for your quarterbacks. And what Tyreek Hill for years did and what Achane was doing and what Waddle was able to do and all the other players that we had on our team is they masked the inability of our quarterback and made the quarterback look better than what he actually was.
And the Carson Beck has never been all that great. So Georgia has like the same philosophy as Alabama. Quarterback just be smart with the football, don't turn it over, make smart plays. The high percentage throws, defense to do the rest, run game to do the rest. That's kind of the philosophy. And then like our talent that we recruit should be higher than everybody else, and we'll beat at impact position, something that Chris Greer's never heard of. And so that's where they'll beat you. But and when Miami fans were excited about Carson Beck, I'm like, all right. I mean, Ward was a lot better than Carson Beck. I like Ward a lot better, and I think he actually makes plays. He elevates the team. He has like a drive to him. Carson Beck, he's kind of chasing the dollar, and he's not all that great. And he was a hindrance. He looked bad today, but so did Texas A&M quarterback. Neither quarterback looked all that good today at all. And I wasn't like neither one of them. To me, Miami and Texas A&M, neither team looked good.
No,
it was pretty sloppy
The
football.
defenses looked good.
Yeah,
Miami's defense. I don't know if you know I forget why I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guy next to Bain. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? He's actually from Ottawa, Canada. Like the guy is a Canadian who went to West Virginia, and then did the transfer portal over to Miami. But I don't know if you guys saw. We're going to talk plenty about the Dolphins and everything that's gone on this season and everything with Tua. But I don't know if you both had the chance to see Schefter's story that broke about 3 hours ago. That as much as you want to rip Greer and as much as you want to rip the Miami Dolphins, prior to the draft, the day of the draft, they offered not one, not two, not three, but 4 first-rounders to take the first pick for Joe Burrow. So when you heard that, Greg and Bret, what was your reaction to that story about the fact that the Dolphins actually wanted to take Joe Burrow? And in turn, by not taking Joe Burrow, why did they all of a sudden flip to Tua instead of Herbert when they actually were going for a able-bodied, strong-arm quarterback versus then like literally flipping the script? So when you heard the story, what was your reaction to it? If you haven't heard about it, what is your reaction to it?
Well, I mean, my reaction was duh. Like we've kind of heard that before. It wasn't really official. We had heard Miami tried, and the Bengals just weren't listening to it, right? So they've tried to go 4 first-round picks. I understand. I mean, that's a lot of picks, but you're trying to get your franchise quarterback, and they ended up with more picks, so they would have been okay. Like that would have been fine if they gave up 4 first-round picks for it because they blew all 3 picks anyway. And I had said before I would have rather traded up. And then, like the biggest thing is, not only were they unsuccessful to get that trade done, and the Bengals didn't want to hear it. That's fine. But then you took the wrong quarterback when you had other options. You had your head coach telling you, "Give me Jordan Love. I will sit him behind Fitzpatrick for a year or 2." And then we'll build the rest of the roster. We'll use our first-round pick to get some other first-round picks to build the roster, and then we'll get Jordan Love at the bottom of the first, and then we can let him sit for a year and then rock and roll with him, and then we're good to go. And you still get Tua, who the coach did not want. Like Flores did not want him. So then you force that. And then you go and you pass up Justin Jefferson. At the time, a lot of us are saying, Austin Jackson? Like, that's a second-round pick. Like, no, I knew he was, and I'm like, that's a second-round talent or bottom of the first. If they took him at where they took Noah, I wouldn't have been upset about the pick. Like, whatever. Okay, you got a late-round offensive tackle. I would have preferred Jonathan Taylor, but that's fine. You get an offensive tackle. Like, okay. Wouldn't have been as upset. But then they pass up Justin Jefferson for him, and then you pass up talent at the bottom because you got Fred or Jonathan Taylor, and instead you get Noah Igbenogany. You waste your picks. And then you go get Raekwon Davis in the second, he was okay. He never turned out who he could have been. I actually liked the pick of Raekwon Davis because the only reason I liked it because in college he showed the ability to play a 5 technique where he could affect the quarterback and affect the pass. And he's tall and he can get in the passing lane. So the reason I say all that, the way it all correlates is not only were you not able to get Joe Burrow, but you just didn't do anything right after that. Like, think about if they took Herbert, or let's say they went Brian Flores' route and he got Jordan Love, and you sat him behind Fitzpatrick for a year or 2. I don't think the way Ryan Fitzpatrick played in 2019, I don't think any Dolphin fans would have complained about him in 2020 starting the entire season. And none of us complained the next year when he played, really. Except for the ones who are like, oh, you got to start Tua. Like, just Ryan Fitzpatrick is a savvy veteran. He played fine. Like
he struggled in 2019 and Rosen went in for him at one point, but then it didn't last.
Right, but like think about you put him in 2020 with Jordan Love, and then it just like falls into place.
Yeah, I don't know. I just lost internet.
So I don't know like what's I don't know. Like maybe that would have been better, and then maybe you would have drafted better if you listened to your coach. So I just think it's more of an indictment on Greer to say like, oh, you have 4 first-round picks that you're willing to give up, and then you made nothing of those 4 first-round picks. You know that's the frustration. Then the next year, you waste 2 picks to get 1 receiver, and you could have stayed in place when you traded down and just took Devonta Smith or moved up a spot to get him. Or to stay where you were in the first place. It got Jamar Chase, who was better than both of them. Yeah. So it's like it's just a constant miss. Even if they draft the right position, it's the wrong player all the time. Yeah. I saw a few years back, even when the Dolphins are right, they're wrong. So even when they draft it was about Christian Wilkins because they drafted Christian Wilkins, who's a good player. Simmons, who went a couple spots after him, was even better and affects the quarterback better. And that would have been a better pick. And it was like, even when Miami makes a good pick, it's the wrong pick.
Yeah. So obviously we're going to talk about the whole season. We're talking about the Bengals game and everything like that. And we'll talk about all the different nuances that we've all been talking about all week. You and me driving each other bananas by that. You know I love you, Bret. I'm only giving you shit all the time.
That's why I said we're just fighting like a married couple.
We love it. But when you heard that Tua was benched, talk about what you saw Monday night. Because I know you like to look at the nuances, and I just want to give you my overall perspective. A lot of people talk to me about no one understands concussions, right? Everyone's talking about the hip, but no one understands the net effect of concussion. Some people survive them without an issue, some people do not. No one knows the results of CT or anything. something started looking off last year. This year, he had his moments, but he cannot throw the ball. He cannot, I don't think he can read the play. He's thrown not one team has basically played man on him. If all 15 interceptions are in zone, he is predictable. He can't even, there's something wrong. And overall, I want you to get your whole perspective on what you've seen so far from Tua. What was your reaction when you saw it? And I actually partly believe this may have not been a McDaniel decision. It may have been a McDaniel decision, but this could actually be a Champ Kelly or Brandon Shore, who never wanted to sign to this ridiculous, stupid contract. I just want to get your perspective. Take all the time you need. Then, Greg, what was your reaction to it? And what have you seen? Because you guys, that led to this situation being as bad as it was. And it can't be because Tyreek Hill's not in the lineup. So what has systematically happened to a guy who in 2023 led the league in passing, had strong passer rating, all that, and then literally has become a shell of himself in like that? And even though we never thought he was going to be great, but to be that much of a shell of yourself that quickly is pretty ridiculous.
So all right. So there's a lot of things.
Yeah, take your time.
It's a lot. So the one thing Greg and I have said for the last few years, even back at his good year in 23, he doesn't prepare. So if the defense has changed post snap, he gets lost. Like you would see the great quarterbacks and guys like Phillip Rivers is ones I always go back to because they're so intelligent. They knew what you were going to do before you did. And if you ever listen to some of the people talk about Phillip Rivers, the linebackers and stuff said that Phillip Rivers would drive him crazy because it's like they said it's like he's in their huddle. He prepared like a man obsessed with his job. And that's why Rivers was great for so long. Even though he was so limited in his arm strength and his athletic ability. Like if you gave Rivers a better arm, he would probably he'd probably definitely be one of the greatest of all time. Like he was just, it was up here. If you put his head in even into his body, Tua would be like elite, So it's like I don't see that out of Tua, the fire or the dry or the preparation, and that's why the zone coverages that are getting him are the same zone coverages that Vic Fangio gave him fits back in his rookie year against the Broncos. It's the same coverages that the Raiders gave him fits for. All these zone coverages, these cover two, it gives him fits. And he has tighter windows to throw it. Where man coverage, you can rely on your speed guys to get open and get separation. Waddle was getting separation Monday night. Receivers are getting separation. That interception, everybody's blaming the play design. It was a two-man route with a late flat. Okay, I don't like the play either. There was a late run back to the flat. It looked like miscommunication on the play action. Tua seemed to panic because of that, and instead of just running out of the pocket, throwing it away, calling it a day, or just throwing it well over his head, he just throws it as if Waddle was like 6'5", you know what I mean, or as if it's Darren Waller. And then like he couldn't find Darren Waller all game. He couldn't find these guys. So, like to me, that's a big problem. That shows he doesn't prepare. And then the other thing is he doesn't have confidence in his arm. Why? Because he doesn't have his base under him for two reasons. I don't even know. I want to say two reasons. I don't know if he physically trains and prepares his body to stay with his mechanics, to keep his mechanics the same consistently. It doesn't look like it. However, I don't know. I've known like hip injuries, or I know people who have had hip injuries and as a teenager. A buddy of mine got into a bad car wreck and his hip got messed up. Still to this day, he has hip problems. That was 20 years ago. And it's like the hips don't get better, especially a professional athlete. His entire wall was destroyed, was broken. And I saw the dumbest thing, like, oh, we're treating it as a knee injury. The Lee Steinberg propaganda machine, that dude's a genius with that stuff. They treated a hip injury, a reconstructed hip, as a knee injury. That's not the same. And even some of the doctors on the football doctors and stuff that like comment on Twitter were saying the same thing. Like, I proceed with caution when it comes to that. And I don't think I think I would say, if I had to guess, Greer ignored what the doctor said and just went with it. And I think Tua is like I think that's starting to bother him. I think as the season goes on and the cold hits, I bet you he has a lot of pain in that hip in the cold. I would almost guarantee it. And that's something he can't control. And on top of that, like he needs his base under him to make the throw with any type of velocity. And the interception, his feet weren't under him at all. And a lot of his throws, especially in the cold, he has no velocity if he doesn't have his feet under him and the ball sail. And that's why he had a couple drop picks. And it's just, and his misreads. And it's just, if you watch him, he's a mess. He's not controlled. And your mechanics can be good all you want until you face pressure. Everybody's a plan until they get punched in the mouth and it all goes out the window, right?
He didn't face pressure on that throw, by the way.
No, he didn't. But if the play is somebody runs the wrong route or whatever, he panics.
He freaks.
Yeah, and it's been like Lance Zierlein even put that in his draft profile of Tua. One of the weaknesses, he's frantic in the pocket. If he has to hold the ball, he's frantic and gets happy feet. And that's something that hasn't changed. When you start seeing stuff that were issues in college 3-4 years in, it's a problem. And to me, a lot of times it's either that's just who the player is or they're not preparing. And Tua saying I did a bad job of preparing my guys and preparing. He didn't prepare is what it is. And then he's just shocked. Oh, I didn't play well. You play the one position that you have to prepare because you have to know what everybody in the offense is doing and what the defense is doing, and you just don't prepare. And then you hear Rodgers afterwards talking about like, yeah, they're giving us this, so what we did, we adjusted, we did this, and then they started rolling into this coverage, so that gave us little opportunities to do. And it's like he's talking X's and O's in a very simplistic form, but like Roger said, it was like that boxing match: jab, jab, and when you start letting the guard down, bam, like you hit him with the hook. And it just seems like with Tua, he's not the guy to do that at all. He's not smooth. Like Rodgers looked like a superior quarterback to Tua. And this is the entire win streak was on the back of the run game and defense. Tua was the worst player on offense during that win streak. He didn't look good like in any of the games. The fact that we won some of those games was lucky we played backup quarterbacks. The fact that we beat the Bills the way we did was just the Bills beat themselves against us because they made stupid mistakes. Josh
They're
Allen
also on a high. They were also on a big high.
Yeah, and like the Dolphins just had a good game plan, played very well in defense that game, played very well running the ball, but Tua was just bad. And Greg will probably touch on this more. None of us on this panel are surprised that Achane did not have a great game against the Steelers.
They knew he was going to run. They knew he was
right.
coming.
But the Steelers knew, hey, we ain't afraid of him. We can stop him. All we do is hit him. And Achane's a good back, like we said, but you're not going to ride Achane to victory at all. Like you're not going to do that against good teams. You can do that against terrible quarterbacks and backup quarterbacks that you can, just kind of drain it and like score low. But as soon as Pittsburgh picked it up, like Greg said, you hit 20. Whoever hits 20 wins that game. Pittsburgh hit it no problem, and it started getting embarrassing. And I think the way Tua played, I had friends text me like, "Dude, why is he still there? Like, why is he still playing?"
Well, I'll get to that point a little later on the show. But
and then finally, my last point is, I've said it before. He doesn't care about being great or winning. He never did. He's never had the drive for it. He's just kind of like, if I win, great. If I don't, who cares? Whatever. Good for your mental health. But
yeah. So, well, Bret, I know he's having some major internet issues tonight. So, what was your reaction at that game before we talk about everything else? After the game, there are a couple of instances in that game, Bret, that really bothered me, and it's been bothering me about him for many, many, many years. One, no one holds him to task on the sideline.
Yeah,
he doesn't get upset on the sideline. There was 2:45 left. They're about to be eliminated officially from potentially making the postseason, and he's laughing.
Yeah,
no one else is. And after the game, the guy who was basically giving him crap all game in terms of like trash talking him, Jalen Ramsey, he's hugging it out and having a conversation with Jalen Ramsey, laughing it off instead of being upset in the locker room. He looks totally like you just said, and I want you to continue about that. It doesn't look like a guy who cares about winning football games. He looks at a guy who is part of a brand where his father dictates exactly what he should be doing since high school. And the goal was to swindle the NFL and a team who negotiated against themselves to give him generational money for his family, and it's all that mattered to him. What are your thoughts on what you saw there that night? His lack of fire, his lack of competitiveness, his lack of being pissed. Because I remember I'm 42, 3 years old, but I don't remember a time where I ever saw in his prime Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, whether it was going back even to the 90s, whether it was Troy Aikman, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, didn't matter who. They got when they threw an interception or a play or they got blown up, they were screaming, they were yelling, they were pissed, they were breaking things. What is wrong with this guy?
It goes back to what I said. It doesn't bother him. Like, he doesn't care. He has a laid back attitude. Now, not being upset, pissed on the sidelines, some guys handle things different. Like, Eli Manning was always like kind of stone faced. Jalen Hurts is that way. That's okay. Like, as long as you're not like pouty or sulking or just like laughing like you don't care. Like, just being like even keel on the sideline, that's okay. Some guys are like that, some guys aren't. Aaron Rodgers is like that, but you'll see him get fired up from now and then. But for the most part, like, that doesn't bother me. But you don't see the fire on the field much. You don't see, like, when he throws an interception, he's not mad. He's kind of trots off like, okay, whatever. But then he was mad he got benched. Like, that was probably the most fire I've seen from him in a while. Like, he looked, as he was going on answering the questions, he looked irritated and pissed off and kind of like, screw this. But I'm like, man, if you could have that every time you throw an interception, like, that's where like guys get pissed off, and like you should be pissed. At least, like, I don't want to say pissed, mental health reasons, but like from a perspective of that, like, you should at least be like, that's not good. Like, frustrated, like, that's not good. I need to fix it. Not get down on yourself, not hate yourself or blame, like, just like, damn, what the hell happened there? Let me fix it, and get a little fire under you to fix it, because like that's just life. And you can't go around life with that mentality anyway. It just gets you nothing but burn. And I just think that he just kind of, he has this the laid back attitude where it's like, yeah, whatever, who cares? But if we lose, whatever, it's cool. And that's why he could laugh and joke after the game, like, it is what it is. Honestly, win, lose, whatever. The optics, like everybody said, the optics looks bad. Like, if you want to cut it up like that, go like in the tunnel, whatever, cut it up, whatever, or talk to him after the game, like, like next day, whatever it is. But like, don't sit there and cut it up on the field where media is around, and it makes it look really bad, like you don't care. Which he doesn't, but like, like stuff like that, he should have been in the locker room right away. Like, y'all just lost, and that was the game you knew like you had to win, or you get booted for the playoffs. And you lose, and then like you laugh and joke, then you do your media and say, I didn't prepare the team. But it looks like you didn't, because it looks like you didn't care enough to do it. Yeah. And I think that's part of it. He just doesn't care.
Yeah. And what do you think has led to? It has to be the hip. Like, the man literally cannot move. He's like,
yeah.
He in his, I don't know if you remember, 2019, 2020, he was actually able to make plays with his legs. Now. But the worst part is, and I think you texted me, he's getting out of the pocket, and he has time to get rid of the football, but now he's not even getting rid of the football, and he just gets up, like, it's just like almost like all the comments he made going back from the beginning of the season. Like, I have a feeling, and I'm not like you said, I'm not a doctor, but something is up mentally, physically, that something's off there, and and I was very like When you saw, though, that he was being benched for Quinn Ewers, what was your reaction, though, that he was immediately announced as the third emergency QB, that he wouldn't even be available as the backup? What was your reaction to that when you saw that?
So my reaction mainly was like, I was happy, because it was like, oh, hey, look, we're no longer going to sit here and just make excuses for Tua and ride this all the way out anymore. From the very beginning of McDaniel's tenure, the front office and all was trying to let's fix Tua, let's protect Tua. They were mean to him. He's trying to question himself. And that's what it was all about. The whole video was Mike McDaniel talking to Tua on the phone and this and that. And then it was like, oh, we got to protect him. And then Tyreek comes in and he's like, oh, like Tua's that guy, dude. I swear we're going to be best friends. And that's my dog, whatever. That's my quarterback. Stop disrespecting him. And then and then every week it was an excuse when he would play bad. They just make excuses for it. Oh, that's like, and McDaniel's earlier saying like, oh, we told him to take a risk. That's why he threw the interception. McDaniel's taking the heat for so long and so long and so long. And it's Tua. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's him not being held accountable. It's him not holding himself accountable and not doing what needs to be done to change that. And so for me, it was nice to see.
The coaches are holding him accountable, Bret.
Right. That's what I mean. And it's like, okay, well, finally you bench him, and then you bring in the rookie because you might as well see what you got. You're out of the playoffs. You have nothing to lose. And yeah, McDaniel's saying gives us best chance to win. It's like, no, you want to evaluate your quarterback, but you can't say that. So you want to evaluate your quarterback, and then hopefully, I think if Quinn Ewers wasn't anywhere near ready and didn't give them any chance to win, I don't think McDaniel would start him. But
I don't think it's the McDaniel decision, and I really want to get into that with you. Whether it was Greer, I will never know. We all have theories. Who was the Tua pick? Was it Greer? Was it Stephen Ross? Whoever it was at the time, what gave the most publicity? What was the bigger? Like Oregon wasn't popular, but Alabama's Alabama, and etc. Right? But
it was Greer.
I know. But he also tried to get Burrow. But remember, we can't give crap to the team as much as we want to because they tried to get Brady, they tried to get Watson, they tried all different things to try to make quarterback position better.
I think that the trade for Burrow came from Ross.
Probably.
I think that one came from Ross. Greer was pretty set on Tua because he was there for everything for Tua. He went to nothing for Burrow. The only quarterback he showed up for was Tua. That was it. So I think Greer was all in on Tua, and when the Bengals turned it down, I think Ross is the one said let's trade for it. But then when they got fired, it's just the optics that we went with McDaniel or I forgot his name. The Saints right now. So we went for thank you. We went for those two because
Dayball. Those were our first.
Well, Dayball's familiar with Tua, but Dayball has spurned us from the Giants because Dayball, I don't think wanted to work for. I don't think he wanted to be forced with Tua.
Yeah,
and it had nothing to do that he didn't trust Tua. It's just like, well, if he doesn't work out, then I'm fired with him, which it didn't work out with the Giants either. But it's all everything has been stemmed around fix Tua. We've seen that 1,000 times. Coaches don't come in and fix quarterbacks. The quarterback's either good or he's not. And everybody's going to say, oh, Jared Goff, McVay. McVay took Goff as far as he could and then traded him for a quarterback that could take him even further.
But situations matter, right? So, for example, there's no joke that Sam Darnold has found a new lease on life, right? Like, I mean, yes, he makes mistakes, but he is a talented quarterback that in the right situation can succeed, right? With a good wide receiver, a good running game. Like, he almost has he almost is having the 2023 mindset of Tua in the sense that he has Jackson Smith-Njigba, he has Tyler Lockett, he has Kenneth Walker, he has a good surrounding cast and a good defense and a young coach in Mike McDonald, and that's benefiting him. Geno Smith left there, now he can't do nothing. But and you see Bo Nix with a good defense and a good running game and what he's able to do. But for me, I'm actually convinced that this is a little bit of Champ Kelly, and this is a little bit of Brandon Shore, and this is a little bit of the front office. I'm not 100%. I'm not convinced that because when I watched McDaniel say it, talking about how he almost said in the same vein, Bret, that releasing Judon and bringing him to young players gives us a better chance to win, or saying that Quinn Ewers gives us the best chance to win. I don't see McDaniel as loyal as he's been to Tua all season. As bad as he's been, 4 consecutive games of under 200 yards. I really think he got a swift kick in the butt there because it was national television, and I think Tua's behavior. I'm sure he had a sit down with Champ Kelly, Brandon Shore, maybe Ross, and saying, "We better find out what we got. You want to prove yourself? You have and I said this on a show a couple weeks ago, and people were shocked that I said it, and and I took it from your mindset. I said this weeks ago. In order, it's Greer, it's Tua, then it's McDaniel. As much as I rip on McDaniel, my issue with McDaniel more than anything, Brett, and I want you to get into it as well after, is I very closely watch him and I listen to what he says at halftime. And I'm sure you have as well. Even with the incapability of the quarterback and or the team that he has in front of the offense he has in front of him, they did invest a lot in the offense. He never adjusts out of halftime. And to give you perspective, Brett, 98-27. That is the score of the Miami Dolphins against all the other football teams in the third quarter, heading into last. That is lack of preparation on a head coach coming out of, and he continues to take. We all want it because they can't play behind, because Tua can't play from behind, Brett, and you know this. They take the ball even when they win the toss, and what happens is if they don't capitalize in the second quarter, the other team ends up with the ball last, scores, and then the defense is pissed that the offense didn't do anything in the second quarter, and then they're weak in the third, and then we're down. So for me, a lot of it's on Tua, but a lot of it I think is on an ineptitude of Mike McDaniel to not see the forest for the trees, Brett, in realizing that he probably that night with you and Brett, you and myself and Greg about explosive plays. There are two players, as much as we don't believe in that close, there are two players sitting on the bench who have more mobility and more arm strength than Tua and actually can move. So you can't tell me with a straight face, Mike McDaniel, because he's in your offense and Tua is the $53 million guy, that the other two players actually didn't give you the best chance to win. I don't believe when he says it, he actually believes it. I actually think it's being forced upon him. But you can take the time to just respond to this.
All right. So Champ Kelly got here this year.
Greer didn't hire him. Ross did.
No, right.
I think Brandon Shore had something to do with it also. And Tarv Garfinkel. I think it was not.
Could have. But Champ Kelly got his start with the Broncos.
Yes.
Under Mike Shanahan. And obviously that where that ties to, pretty simple. So my guess is, if I had to guess, there was probably starting to be a little bit of a rub going on between McDaniel and Greer. I think some disagreements started in the Achane draft because McDaniel wanted Achane in the second. Greer said no. They got him in the third anyway, but the guy McDaniel wanted turned out to be a stud. You know, the guy that Greer wanted, his son's roommate, is no longer on the team, was a bust. But Vic Fangio,
where is he now? I don't even know where he is now.
I don't know, but Vic Fangio was mean to him. He's obviously a stud. Oh, wait. He's not even on the team afterwards. Oh, Vic Fangio was right about everything. But I think Vic Fangio
so was Flores.
Right. But I think Vic Fangio might have played a little bit of a part in it because he was getting pissed at Greer like, I need better linebackers. Like, I need better. Like, we need to you're going to deal with what you got, blah, blah, blah.
He would take Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas.
Right, yeah, exactly. But no, Greer wouldn't, change anything. And then Vic Fangio did well enough with what he had to deal with. And then Weaver comes in and it's like just kind of make do with what he has. And I really think Fangio kind of started that. And I think McDaniel started getting the same way. Like, dude, we can't do anything. Like, Greer has all the say and all the control. He has us all by the balls. Here's what you get. Deal with it. And yes, McDaniel wanted Tua, but if you told McDaniel that that's the kind of contract he's going to get, you're not going to be able to really get out of it, or you're going to have cap hell to get out of it, I don't think McDaniel would have went for that.
He signed off on it, Brett. He could have said no.
No, you when it comes, Greer's the VP of was the VP of football operations.
But
he has
the
head coach can't. The head coach can't say.
Who cares if he holds off? Who cares?
Well, yeah, but the head coach can't veto that.
You don't think he had any player personnel decision?
Oh, he's had some, but it's more like, do you want to resign him? Yeah. And it was kind of like, well, we're going to resign him this much money. And that's what we don't know if McDaniel signed off on that or not. But, the structuring of it. And, but either way, it doesn't matter because, he did want him to get extended in the first place. But I still think McDaniel was a part of benching him because I think for him, it's like I have to show one to save my job that I'm willing to move on from him, and to give myself a chance somewhere else. Hey, look, I can move on from him. And McDaniel knows Greer or Tua is holding this offense back bad. And he's known that all season. And to be fair to everybody here, or to the coaching staff, like I'm not sure you don't have to get permission from the owner to be able to bench Tua in the first place because of how much money he's making. For all we know, he might have been like, "Hey, can we am I allowed to bench him?" You know, like
I don't think it matters anymore, Brett. Honestly.
But yeah, but
the contract is the contract. I'm telling you, we're going to talk about it next. The contract's not a problem. The contract's not a problem.
But you also can't bench Tua. They weren't going to let him bench him in the middle of a win streak either. So, that definitely wasn't going to happen. So there was some a long span of why people are like, why are they just doing it now? Well, I mean, during a win streak, it's kind of hard to bench your starting quarterback unless
he was
really right. So it's kind of hard, but now it's like, okay, now if they had lost to the Jets, they might have been like, all right, bench. But I mean, they benched him before they got a beatable Bengals team. Then you got the Buccaneers. Then you ended with the Patriots. If they went 2 of the 3, McDaniel saves his job, and it looks pretty good on him. But if Ewers shows out, back to that, I think starting Ewers is smart. You see what you get, but Tua's limitations is what hinders the offense. So you notice they might start a quarter out good and then it kind of fall apart. Well, Tua's limitations and how bad he's been, he had one good quarter against the Jets and played like garbage the rest of the game, and then had one good
Carolina game.
Carolina game. That was another good example.
It was Atlanta, and that's about it.
Against the Saints, he looked bad.
Taylor Stock was better than him.
Yep. So it's the problem with Tua is he's limited, and the defenses catch on. Defenses make easy adjustments, and they take him out of the picture. Then all of a sudden, Tua can't do anything. And Tua really couldn't do too much against the Steelers anyway. They give him spurts, and then they would mix it up. So he's like, oh, I got these gimmies, and then the Steelers would mix it up, and then Tua's like, oh, what happened? And freaks out. And then at the end of the game, he puts up garbage time numbers. And
oh, yeah, people don't look at the stats. By the way, proof of the pudding is if you didn't watch a game, that's why the eye test really matters, and that's why analytics doesn't play a role for me in football, is because if you look at how his stats work, you would think that he actually played somewhat of a decent game if you didn't watch the game.
Right,
but
right.
He was absolute heap of garbage.
Well, that's why you have the OE, the over expected and stuff like that, where it's but it's just, I do think that McDaniel feels handicapped with Tua because the outside the number throws are not there, and Tua gets hesitant to make them because he's not confident in his arm. Where Quinn Ewers, he doesn't have a cannon, but he has a good arm. It's way better than Tua's, and he can make the throws. No, he's not an athlete, but Quinn Ewers moves around better than Tua. He's not as stiff, and he has different arm angles like a baseball player to throw. So that's the one thing about Quinn Ewers. He was a really highly recruited out of high school. Ohio State didn't have a spot for him. He didn't stay the fight for a spot. Instead, he went to Texas. Did okay there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I really think he does have. I think he opens the offense a little bit more as far as arm talent goes.
Okay, so Zach Wilson's pissed. Let me ask you, unless they were telling me differently, they had all options on the table. They could have gone to get Joe Flacco. They could have tried to get Gardner Minshew. They could have gone to get that anyway. They could have gone to get so many guys who were backups. They chose. McDaniel says he chose him because they thought they chose a practice squad player from the Broncos who was behind Steedham, and they took Zach Wilson. You signed Zach Wilson to $6 million guaranteed. What was the point of signing him? And then, who do you think picking Ewers? Was that a Greer or was that a McDaniel? Because why did they draft Zach Wilson if they were going to draft Quinn Ewers and then never play Zach Wilson? So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the thing about that. You don't know. So they drafted him in March, or they signed him in March 10th. So you don't.
What they signed?
They signed Wilson in March. So you don't know you're drafting Ewers.
Yeah,
right?
but for $6 million, a third. Why would they have done that? Knowing the issues with Tua, why would McDaniel and Greer sign Zach Wilson for $6 million?
Well, it's the same reason Brock Purdy became the starter after Jimmy G went down. He was a third-round quarterback, or he was a third-string quarterback, seventh-round pick. So I think it's like they.
But why do you think they jumped him? Why do you, because they have to see what they have in you?
Well, that's part of it, yeah. But I mean, it legitimately could be that they like Ewers better in his offense, or they have been developing him along the way. Like he jumped them earlier in the season too, and I think that was just so they could get him some playing time and see what he could do. And I think they like what they have in Ewers. I think they like what they have in Ewers as a potential backup, not so much starter. But I think they like what they have with him, who could do a little bit of everything, and they could mix it up with him a little bit. And if I think this could be me, I've been fighting this idea, and I don't know which way it's going to go. But I get the feeling that McDaniel is back next year with Champ Kelly. I could very well be wrong. But
Jonathan Jones wrote about that. But I think I actually believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually believed it. Only if Tua played out the season.
Yeah, but so here's the thing: the way they ended that half, going no huddle, I was frustrated with. I was
Wait, what was that, by the way? Explain to me as a
end of the
layperson.
game, rather.
I think after reading about it, and I really I think he actually did that because Tua was behind center, and Tua cannot do a hurry up offense.
I
think that was actually because of Tua. Tua cannot run a 2-minute offense.
That's something that's one of the ideas I thought of. And then I thought the other one was like, he's safe. He's saying he packed it in, said, fuck it, I'm safe. I'm safe.
I was in shock.
Just end it and end the season, and then we're gonna get, we're just gonna start looking. But then I'm like, there's no way. Yeah, then I'm like, there's no way a head coach is saying no. But I'm like, something's weird. And Troy Aikman kept calling it out. I'm like, it's like they gave up, and it's like, I don't know. It was weird. I was frustrated with it.
8 minutes left.
But even if you're just going no huddle, or even if you're going huddle because you're a quarterback, I'm thinking to myself, McDaniel's kind of done. Like he's done with Tua. Like he gave up. Like and now like I don't know. It's weird. But like
it was awkward. That was just beyond awkward.
It was like no fire. And the way they ended that, it's just like something told me McDaniel was safe with the way they ended that game. And I'm like, you know what? If that's the case, I can see right now McDaniel saying, like, they got rid of Judon. Let's see what the young guys got. We'll bench Tua. Let's see what Ewers has. Don't be surprised to start seeing other guys getting more playing time. You start seeing guys disappear off the field. The one I don't want to see that this kind of ticked me off Friday night or Monday night is seeing Brooks. If Jordan Brooks gets cut at the end of the year or whatever,
they're going to re-sign him. He's a little bit banged up, and I think he wants to play it out because he wants to make.
Well, I was frustrated.
He wants to be an All-Pro. He's been great this year.
I was hoping they benched him because he was gassed and just in his head. They just
he's injured.
When they took him off the field after his penalty,
he was already like he already tweaked something then.
So maybe they were just kind of okay.
He tweaked something
because like Brooks
he's been limited all week.
And when he stood over the defender or the offensive player, they're like, "Oh, you can't." This taunting. Even Aikman was like, come on, you're gonna call
that was ridiculous.
That was a stupid that to me, that penalty, because I didn't see it initially, right? And then I hear them call it. I was like, come on, Brooks. Man, I was like, well, immediately my head went, you know what? At least he's showing some type of fire. At least he's showing something. He has answered the call ever since last year when they said you guys are soft. And he took it personal, and ever since then he's been playing on a mission, and he's played very well. And I usually am not so big on tackles, but
defense was on Monday night. The first quarter for a half, they were physical like I've ever seen.
Yeah, that defense, honestly, and Greg and I had said
they're not the problem, Brett. They're not the problem.
No, Greg is like, they're playing good against bad quarterbacks. And they like Aaron Rodgers did end up carving them up a little bit, but that defense is on the field a lot. The offense wouldn't sustain drives. The defense is tired, and they don't have the depth anymore with the injuries and stuff. And they just, especially in the secondary. And at the end of the day, like the defense, if the offense was moving the ball and sustaining drives, that defense might have played better. But the first half, that defense played very well.
Yes.
That defense was fighting, and they were battling, and then they just got gassed. They mentally got burnt, and they're just getting like the defense. Honestly, if you were to not necessarily run it back, but if you were to take the defense as is right now to next year into the offseason, you wouldn't have to do too much to keep it at the level it's playing now. And you could easily, maybe one or two pieces, take it up a little bit too. So I don't think the defense is bad at all. I think they're well coached. I do think everybody owes Weaver an apology because he's got them. I'm not saying he's been great.
He's going to be interviewed for coaching jobs again.
But Weaver took them from the dumps to playing better disciplined football, and open field tackling was a lot better until they were exhausted, and that's what happens. So I think maybe like I guess maybe the fitness, they could just get a little better with that, the conditioning. But honestly, this whole thing, like I have a feeling McDaniel's back, and if he is,
not if they lose the next three. Not if yours looks awful.
Yeah, I can see that too. But I can see
the next three games matters to him.
Yeah,
he has the ability, not with the Bengals, but in the Bucks and the Patriots game, he actually has the ability to play spoiler.
Yeah,
they actually have the ability to play spoiler, and if he doesn't, he has to see what he. By the way, if he cannot, I saw a stat. The year people were all ripping. Remember the year Tua got majorly concussed, and we had Bridgewater and we had Thompson. That was in 22.
Yeah,
22, 22. 23.
22.
23.
No, it was 23. I was Tua stayed healthy the whole year.
Okay, the Scarlett Thompson year, 22.
Yep.
Do you know that as much as I ripped McDaniel, I looked into this a little bit. As much as I ripped McDaniel for being a poorly prepared coach, he actually was 3-2 when the quarterbacks actually started the game. When quarterbacks came into games mid-games, that's when he lost most of his games with his quarterbacks. If he gets a full week with his quarterback, let's see what he can do. He actually has won games with them. So
that's the thing.
For me,
how do they look without Tua? Well, the offense is all built around Tua. Then when the guys come in for Tua, they have no preparation.
No, because Tua monopolizes the snap count because the guy needs to be over prepared.
Right, that's true too.
But what do you? For me, the next 3 weeks. For me, at this point, I don't care if McDaniel's back. At this point, all I care about more than anything, Bret, and it's become a big fight. It was weeks ago, and people were saying I was crazy, and then George has been faithful back me up. But I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, that Tua cannot be on this roster. And if you look, by the way, and I did more research on it, and I've been reading a lot about it, if you cut him post-June 1st, his cap hit represents less of a percentage of the cap because the cap is going up than Russell Wilson's. Don't look at the dollar value. Look at the percentage of the cap and how much it affects you. His cap hit will be less of a percentage, I think 2 or 3% less than what Russell Wilson. Do you realize that if you get the quarterback right and get the coach right, Russell Wilson is accounted for 30-something million this year, 50-something last year on the Broncos cap, and they made the playoffs last year, and they're in first place right now. Do you know that when Carson Wentz was the quarterback, they had to eat his contract too? So teams are able to take bad. Daniel, look, Aaron Rodgers, that didn't work out with the Jets. The Jets are already tanking. But there's a way to actually, if you get the right coach, the right person to draft, and you hit on the quarterback, and you hit on the coach, and you hit on a good defense, you could actually turn this around quickly. You don't have to rebuild. I don't believe in the tank anymore because teams like the Broncos prove that if you have a good coach and you hit on the quarterback and you have a good defense, you could win.
Yeah.
Because the cap keeps on going up. So if you show something, and then either you go get a bridge for a year because you may not like what's in 26, but there are decent quarterbacks. I don't know. I want to look at the Duke guy a little bit more. It's not a huge draft. Like Mateer didn't look great. Simpson doesn't look great. Moore, you don't know. Mendoza, you're going to go early. But at the
Mendoza
same time,
would be like first overall probably. Yeah. He's a good quarterback.
But at this point, if yours is capable and you get a decent quarterback in the set, another quarterback you can hit in the second round, doesn't matter. Like, just figure it out. Because you have the weapons around you. And I even made a joke. I'd go get if Tyreek wants to come back on a low contract because he wants to earn it back, bring it back. I don't care. Like, Tua's the problem. He cannot be anywhere near this building. And another team, I bet you, will give a shot to Tua because as long as they give him the league minimum, they're fine. So anyone can put Tua as a backup. I'd cut him post June 1st and I wouldn't even think twice. It shouldn't even be a thought to the Dolphins about the cap. Don't try to trade him. Trading is going to be just as bad. No, you're not going to find a trade partner. Cut the guy and rid him of. But I hope you realize there's no one left defending Tua. Like there's nobody left.
There's
defending.
some.
And if
VBS
they
is
are,
still
they're out.
yeah.
Then they're not cheering. Then they are not cheering for the Dolphins. They're cheering for Tua, and because that doesn't make any sense.
So a lot of them don't want to admit that they missed on Tua. They want to blame the coach.
I
Now,
get it.
I go back in time when I was when I was a big like Ryan Tannehill supporter. It's just because I didn't know anything, right? I didn't know quarterback that well. I'm not an expert now, but after I want to say, and during was it, I don't remember now. Was it 17 that got hurt? What year did he get hurt?
Who?
Tannehill. Oh, 16.
Tannehill, was that the year that Moore played? I think it was
16 we got when Calais came with his
knee.
knee.
The one after 17 with Gase.
Yeah. But then, like 17, he got hurt again. It was 18. Either way, it doesn't matter. But you started seeing, like, yeah, he's good, but he's not really the guy. And it's like, it's still, it just never was the same. And then you see him go to Tennessee, and it was, oh yeah, see, he was good. We ruined quarterbacks, this and that. No, he wasn't that good. He just was efficient to go with an elite offense that had Derrick Henry, who was an elite running back, an elite offensive line, and an elite wide receiver, like in A.J. Brown, and then a very good defense with a good coach. Tannehill just didn't have to mess it up. Like that was it. And lo and behold, what happened? What happened to their seasons? They lost to a team with an elite quarterback. Shocked. A league derived around quarterbacks, and you'd lose to the team that had the elite quarterback. And that happens. And the elite coach too, but like that's going to happen. So you could, if let's say the same thing happens with Tua. Oh, see, we should have kept Tua, this and that. You'll hear it. And it's like, oh, he fizzled out. Oh, because it's hard to maintain that level of play, maintaining elite talent around a subpar quarterback for so long. It costs so much money, and then you got to pay that quarterback. It just doesn't work.
Well, look at Daniel Jones this year. People are bragging about Daniel Jones. When you have an elite tight end in Tyler Warren, who we should have taken, you have an elite running back in Jonathan Taylor, you have an elite offensive line, you have a good defense.
Yeah. And again, but look what happened before he got hurt. Look what happened to Daniel Jones when he started playing better defenses. As the season progressed, all of a sudden defenses are making adjustments, and all of a sudden Daniel Jones starts to look like Daniel Jones again. Is he more efficient? Yes. But that's about it. He still has a ceiling. Daniel Jones, I still respect him. He's a tough dude, good athlete, not that great of an arm, but good enough. But again, he is who he is, and a good bridge quarterback. But it's like he's like Matt Schaub, another one I always compare to as like a guy who was just teeter-tottering on like being a franchise quarterback and being the definition of mediocre. You know, like these guys are just it's like these guys like Kyle Orton. Remember him? He'd have like a good season, and that was it. You know, so I don't see. And people are still using Sam Darnold like you did earlier, but like where you're going with that, I understood. And you're also saying it's like that's not the rule. You know, that's the exception. Like it does happen, doesn't mean it's always. But again, like you said, he's in a good situation. And in Minnesota's in a good situation. But how long can you keep an elite defense? And the problem is, look what happened when you paid Tua. Look how much it fell apart. And like, oh, well, the Chiefs pay their guys. They can still pay these guys. They have an elite quarterback that carries the team, but you see what happens after a while. You pay your quarterback. Sometimes you're going to have times where things kind of fall apart. And the Chiefs also played a long season, 20 games a year almost, you know, like every single season with a burnout. And it starts to take an effect too. And like this salary cap sport, it is hard to maintain and pay your quarterbacks. Like we used to see it all the time. As soon as the Ravens paid Flacco, things fell apart. As soon as the Packers, the Packers are usually pretty good about how they pay their quarterbacks. They're really good at structuring. Even the Steelers have Ben Roethlisberger. They had times where they had to like Tom Brady. How many times did he have to restructure his contract, take less money, just so those guys, so he can get more help and help the roster. So it's like, it's a lot. It happens. And going forward, I think, see what you got with Quinn Ewers. Going forward, I think you could go get a stopgap quarterback. It's just, even if McDaniel saves his job with the ownership, does he save himself with the locker room? Do the players trust him? Now that he benched Tua, was it too little, too late? Is he showing faith to kind of say, hey, you know what, guys, that's all me. I shouldn't have done that with these guys. I shouldn't have babied them. I shouldn't have, you guys should have been held to a different standard. He should have been held to an even higher standard because that's a quarterback position. We'll fix that going forward. I'll have to prove it, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, in 2016, the only quarterback I would draft, I think, other than Mendoza, if he were to fall to us, is Alar coming off that knee injury, because I think you can get him. Let's say you get him a second-round pick, and he doesn't pan out. I hate to say it, but a second-round pick on a quarterback doesn't pan out. You don't have that much invested into him. Whereas a first-round pick, you're like, oh, we use a first on him. He's got to be the guy you want to, which is a bad mindset. If a guy's a miss, he's a miss. I don't care what position it is and when you draft him. If he's a miss, he's a miss. Own it, move on. You don't want to cut ties too soon, though. But at least with the first-round pick, you get a fifth-year option. But yeah, Alar is a guy I would look at in this draft. And that's still, if you can get him in a second or third with that knee injury and he turns into something, great. If he doesn't, 2027 is a better draft. So I think that's like a win-win. But I still think you should draft one this year.
You should always draft the quarterback.
Right. I have an interesting tidbit for you guys. I was thinking about it. Elaine Poupar had an article I had looked up, and this is from a few years back, about the Dolphins' history of drafting quarterbacks and how they aren't a franchise that historically drafted quarterbacks. I don't have quite the full breakdown in front of me, but under Don Shula, who inherited Bob Greasy, he drafted 18 quarterbacks. And we're talking 5th round, 7th round, 10th round, 12th round. So remember the draft used to go on. But we're talking like picks 200 and so. He always draft every year, except for, and then he had a span where every other year for a little bit. Even with Marino, he drafted guys, and he drafted Scott Mitchell, which was a second-round pick, I think.
Yeah.
He drafted these guys, David Woodley, who was actually our quarterback, led us to a Super Bowl, also to Washington before they got Marino, the year before they got Marino, I think. But either way.
4.
Yeah. And, he drafted him in the 5th round. He kept drafting quarterbacks. And he ended up getting Marino and all, but then he got Scott Mitchell, and he got picks for Scott Mitchell. The point I'm making is, he kept going after quarterbacks so we could have backup quarterbacks. And throughout Shula's career, when his starter would go down, his backup would come in and do his job, and he would develop him. And after Greasy and all that, and he also drafted Joe Theismann, which many people don't know. And then Theismann got into a contract dispute, played for the Argonauts, and then ended up playing for Washington, whatever. But he knew quarterback pretty well for a guy who's a defensive guy. Why? Because Shula loved competition. You know how many quarterbacks we've drafted after Shula retired?
Not even 10.
10. That's it.
And
10. 3 of which were under Ireland. It was Chad Henne, Pat White, Ryan Tannehill. Tua was obviously Greer, Skylar Thompson, and then Brandon Doughty was the other one we got. Those were the 3 Greer drafted. That's it. And Ewers, that's 7. So Josh Hupel in 2001, and I forgot the other one, but that's it. We draft a lot of them were 7. Oh, John Beck was another one. So we drafted a few in the second round. We drafted 3 in the second round, 2 in the first since Marino, 3 in the second round, 2 in the first, and the rest were late picks. We're not even trying at quarterback.
No.
And that's so the reason I bring that up is, yeah, we got a guy in the 7th round, Skylar Thompson, that didn't work out. Okay, whatever. And we get a guy in the 7th round in Ewers and say it doesn't work out. This time, get a Alar in the 2nd round, 3rd round, wherever he goes, even bottom of the 1st if you had to, at 32, something like that.
To the quarterback in the 1st round. Who cares?
Yeah. If Alar's there, I'm just using him as an example. It doesn't work out. Just be prepared to say, hey, it doesn't work out, or hey, he's working out, but 2027, if we're at that pick, a good quarterback falls to us, we're taking him. And I'll trade the guy that we just drafted in the 1st round if I have to. Or they'll battle it out for a competition. We'll see where it goes.
And if Ewers doesn't work out, Bret, you make him back the emergency QB. You draft a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round. And then you go knock the door on whether it's Joe Flacco or whoever.
Right.
Go find a bridge quarterback and let them compete.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a couple you can probably go after. I've seen the rumors of Miami talking about trading for Kyler Murray. Not
Not a
rumors, but
chance.
like as people saying like, oh, it would make sense. They should do it. I remember Dak
Now people
Prescott was
want to trade for
one.
Burrow now, 5 years later.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would. I mean, if it was realistic, I would. Like if Burrow's like I want out and Miami had a chance to, I
People's
would.
concern with Burrow is that he's missed more games than Tua.
So yeah,
And he
but
looks miserable.
he does. But here's the thing: that offensive line is even worse than Tua's, and
And their defense is worse than the Dolphins.
yeah, and like he carries that team.
Oh.
But Adrians are concerned with Burrow. However, people say that he's missed more time than Tua. But in 2021 to 2022, he went to an AFC Championship and a Super Bowl, and in 2022 went to an AFC Championship. He sat one game for rest because they had won the division, and they had the number 1 seed. Didn't have to worry about playing, or had whatever seed. I think it's number 2 seed, whatever. He didn't have to worry about playing, so he sat. But he played. I want to say it was like 50-something games, and then in 2022 he played like 10 games in a row, and then got hurt. So he played all of 23, all of 23, all of 22. Went to an AFC Championship and a Super Bowl, and then all of 23 AFC Championship, and then played 10 games. I forgot how many games it was. I want to say it was like 53 games in a row before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what's the most games Tua's ever played in a row? 18. That's it.
Yeah. 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you got to count like the next year after that, and then he kept getting hurt. I want to say it was like 24, something like that. But anyway, yeah. So, like, that's the point. Like, he doesn't get hurt like Tua does.
But I could actually see, with the exception of maybe the core players that are signed on this team, whether it's Achan, whether it's Sealer, whether it's our defensive line has improved throughout the year, whether it's Brooks, whether it's Sealer, but a lot of these guys, there's going to be a massive turnover on this team. Malafanu, I don't think Douglas is going to want to stay. Like, he was having a good old time.
Yeah.
With Aaron Rodgers giving him hugs on the ESPN.
Gone.
Like, Jack Jones, I think, wants to be here, but I think there's a young core. Like, I want to see Dante Trader. I want to see Marshall. I want to see Bigger. By the way,
I want to see Dante Trader because he's from Delaware. Dante Trader, I want to see succeed because he's from Delaware.
Yeah. By the way, but Biggers has not looked that bad. He is not.
No. So Biggers has actually been a really good player.
Better than Jones. Better than Benito.
Yeah. But Benito actually started the season out really strong, and then the young guy started stepping up. Still disappointed with our first round pick, but
who would have thought? Remember 3 years ago, you were ripping on how bad our linebackers are. Dotson and Brooks have been great this year.
Dotson's better this year than he was last year. Last year he was not that great. This year's been better. Year. Yeah, I ripped the linebackers for a while, and then I did say this year
they're not a problem.
Yeah, I said when we got Jordan Brooks, I was happy we got Brooks last year. And then this year, I said, this is the best our linebacker corps looked because we went and got, what's the kid's name? He came from Tampa Bay.
KJ Bret.
And
but they haven't used Willie Gay at all, which I'm surprised. I like Willie Gay.
Willie Gay seems to come in sporadically.
Yeah.
Like now that I think Judon's gone, Willie Gay will play more.
Do you see who he signed with?
Yeah, the Bills. Well, luckily we don't have to play him. But I can see
but he has not been great this year. He's not the same Matthew Judon.
Well, so I think Willie Gay, I think they're going to get him more time, and I think they're going to see about him long terms into next year. That's also what makes me think everybody's back next year because they're kind of let's evaluate the roster.
I know you're saying you think. Do you think that? Let me ask you this question: does Mike McDaniel? Because you've talked about it. I could see Mike McDaniel seeing he could be a good coach one day. Do you want him back? Or do you finally want? Because remember,
I want to clear house.
You remember why they hired Dennis Hickey, right? You remember why? Four GMs turned it down because they were forced on Philbin and Tannehill.
Yeah, they were
force a GM. That means if McDaniel's back, that means you're settling yourself with Champ Kelly, and not actually doing a search.
Well, so okay, here's how
this could be one and done.
Right. The only way this works is thinking outside the box a little bit, which Greg and I have said if McDaniel is back, the only way it works is he hires the front office now. He gets his guys, they come in, they hire the front office. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, the coach, no, the GM should run the show. This, now. No. A lot of good coaches throughout the NFL in the last 20 years or so have run their own front office.
Veach is not in charge. Reed is.
No. And Andy Reid, the thing about that is Andy Reid brought Veach with him. After a couple of years, they brought Bret Veach promoted him to GM. Andy Reid pushed him out. Andy Reid's the VP of football operations. He was a VP of football operations in Philadelphia. What he would do is he'd bring guys in as a coach, and you would kind of learn to break down film, learn their system, like break down their film of what they want to look for, what they want to do. You know, a lot of these guys play college ball, so they understand it already. And then you go in, coach, so you understand the system, you understand what they want to do for like a year or two. And then you hit the road evaluating, saying, okay, this is what we do. This is what we're looking for. This is what we preached throughout the season. Now we got to go that way. So I think if so you look at like Mike Shanahan. Even we know Kyle Shanahan pretty much has the say over there. Pretty sure Sean McVay has all the say. Bill Belichick had to say in Cleveland. He had to say in
you don't think Sean Payton
England
has full say in Denver?
Sean Payton has full say. He had full say in New Orleans. And Bill Parcells always had full say. You know, like these guys always, like Mike Holmgren had full say in Green Bay and Seattle. So it's like that's the thing. These guys they run the front office. They're the VP of football. They run the football side of things. And then they are a lot of the guys who succeed.
McDaniel's not capable of doing that.
I don't know about that. McDaniel's been around a long time.
The guy does not know what he's saying, Bret. He's very confused.
I think he's not very good with media.
Not polished.
But I don't know that he's not capable of hiring people to be in the right spots, though, as far as like running a front office. I'm gonna say he's intelligent. Like he knows football very well. People forget he's been around this system and been coaching since 2005. So he's been around this system for 20 years. He's not stupid. He knows offense very well. And a lot of players compliment his knowledge. I'm not saying he can do it, but getting the guys who understand his system and then putting them in place so that he has the say where he can say, no, that guy doesn't fit what I do. And the GM's not like, well, figure it out. No, it's like, well, no, he doesn't fit. And I don't want to hear, well, you make your system fit around players. No, there's 11 players on offense, 11 players on defense. You cannot accommodate every single player. It doesn't work that way. You build a system and then you develop within the system and you draft and sign guys that fit your system. Andy Reid's done it for decades, and he's one of the best coaches of all time. Bill Belichick did it for decades. Don Shula did it for decades. You know what I mean? Like it's a pattern. Mike Shanahan did it. You didn't fit. He didn't go after you. Sometimes it's okay to try. Like, you know what? This guy's got a lot of talent. We'll try it out. It doesn't work. And you just move on, whatever. Or, hey, he does fit, but, we're going to try to do this and it doesn't work. Okay, whatever, move on. That happens. You're not going to be 100%. But that's the only way this works to McDaniel is if he hires his own people.
You didn't answer the question. Do you want him back?
I want a fresh start. I don't hate him coming back if he's running the show. But if you have a GM that comes in and you say you keep McDaniel, that's just going to bite you in the ass.
There can't be any restriction. That's what I'm saying. So it has to be Champ Kelly and Mike McDaniel or bust.
Yeah, well, unless there's another person out there that he knows that come in. You know what I mean? Like he still hires his guy. But I still feel like Champ Kelly was the reason it was brought in was Mike McDaniel. That doesn't mean they're all staying until next year, but I do feel like that they skipped people. All of them that were tied to Greer, they just leapfrogged them and went right to Champ Kelly, who's an outsider coming in. So we'll see what happens there because they fired. I know Ross has not done the right decisions and has done half-ass measures the entire time he's been here. But this is the first time he's cleared people out of the front office too, not just the GM. He fired people that have been here since the 90s.
He didn't like Greer. Greer, no one to see him.
Yep. I think anybody that was tied to Greer that was a Greer loyalist was out, out. Like you're wasting money, you're wasting time, you've wasted all these years of picks, resources, and we've got nothing more. And now Ross looks like an idiot because he was loyal to his guys, which
By the way, the one thing we can't criticize him for is loyalty is also a compliment, right? You're loyal to your people. That is a good sign of a good boss in one way, but that's in spite of winning. So like sort of like the way Tua thinks. Tua is loyal up to a point, but he doesn't care about winning. But I must tell you, but he invests in this team. Like I've never seen a guy like someone made a line. I think it was I saw it on a podcast today. Like the man literally, if he wants to get rid of you, he can. He's not worried about you. The man doesn't care because the man literally can buy you out. Can buy anything. He's pissed at you. He can make your life miserable. The guy literally has made a fortune. He's doubled his wealth owning the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins have made him a crap load of money. In F1 and tennis, the guy does want to have success. He just doesn't know anything about football, and he's trying to make decisions. I meant to ask you this. I don't think I've ever asked you. Do you want someone as a buffer between Ross and the general manager? Do you want a president of football operations?
Yeah,
like Parcells again.
Yeah, I do. But like, it could be a head coach. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a separate.
But it has to be a veteran head coach. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't be a rookie.
All right. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, got all that power right away. Mike Holmgren, all of it right away.
Yeah, but they had many years of OC experience. This guy literally is a run game coordinator. That's the highest position he ever held.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that. I'm not saying McDaniel. I'm just saying in general. Like,
yeah. You
don't have to be the reason.
Is there someone out there is there someone out there right now? If you have your hand picked right now of who's available, or that's not a head coach in the NFL? So college, unemployed. Who do you see as a potential target? That's one of the concerns I have is that who does Stephen Ross even think is capable? Who's better than McDaniel out there right now to coach this football team or to turn it around? Who's out there?
I have to look at who is available.
Anyone not named Belichick for now because Belichick, yeah.
Well, yeah. He said he's staying in North Carolina. He's doing Belichick's doing the opposite of Nick Saban. I'm staying in North Carolina. All right, I'm not staying in North Carolina.
By the way, you know what's ironic about it? You know what's ironic about it for him? Do you know who his potential quarterback was going to be at North Carolina?
Who's that?
The guy who's starting tomorrow. Did you know? Because he held off Arch Manning as long as he could, which he did a pretty good job doing for years. He was offered like $3 million NIL money to go to North Carolina.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that's right. He was, and he ended up going for the draft, which I thought was wild because he was one kid. I was like, you should stay, because I do think that he was
going to be the starter at North Carolina.
Yeah, I do think he is. I do think he could have been a good coach, right? Or a quarterback, but I think he needed more time. And sometimes guys get to the NFL and it just kind of falls apart. And it's like, I don't know. So, but as far as that goes, I wouldn't mind bringing in Belichick. Obviously, that would be nice. I'd be all about it.
He would crap the pants out of both of those, Buffalo, New England.
Well, I'll tell you, the one guy I'm keeping an eye on is Kevin Stefanski. He'd be the top of my list. I'd bring him in.
Even with all the struggles in Cleveland?
Yeah, because that offense always looks good. He's the coach of the multiple-time coach of the year. He's a good coach. But that quarterback situation was awful. And I don't know that he made any of those decisions.
You don't think that was an owner's decision to go get this done?
Deshaun Watson was definitely an owner's decision. I don't think he was like, oh, let's jeopardize our future for Deshaun Watson. So Stefanski's
and the owner said he's going to keep him on the roster next year.
Yeah, look, Stefanski's a smart guy. He knows how to get the most out of the offense, run game, pass game. I mean, look at Shedeur Sanders and how well he's played. Look at how proficient their offense is. Like Stefanski knows physical ball. He knows how. You could say it was all right. That whole it was Brady, not Bill, blah 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 blah. I hate that shit. The Ravens are who they are because of a system put forth by Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick developed, and He developed his scouts. He developed his coaches. He developed scouts as coaches the same way Andy Reid did. He developed all of that, and that whole system. It was build within, build them up, build them up, build them up. So that way it's next guy up, next guy up. That wasn't just a mantra of football. That's a mantra of life. Like, hey, I know that guy is your coworker's sick and called out, but we still got to work, buddy. Work doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. It's the way it is. Hey, that guy quit. That guy got a new job. He got promoted up. We need someone else to fill that spot. And that's what the Ravens do. The Ravens are set up because of that. The Patriots, look how quick they flipped that right back around. And the reason why not McCarthy.
What are your thoughts on McCarthy?
Now, that one you could say it was the quarterback, not the coach, because he had Aaron Rodgers.
No, but do you like McCarthy?
I don't like him as a head coach. I'm not a fan of it. I know Dallas is a hard place to win sometimes with Jerry Jones being in the way and Stephen Jones. I get that. That's hard to win when you have personnel decisions against you, but I'm not a big fan of Mike McCarthy. I still think I think Green Bay moved on from him for a reason, and Green Bay is pretty patient with their coaches. And you see how well they've been doing without him. I'm not a Mike McCarthy guy. One young guy I like. Now, I don't think he's going to be the VP or CEO of the team, but is Brady.
Yeah.
Joe Brady. Very intelligent, very smart guy. Sean Payton offense. Learn from Sean Payton. The Bills' offense has been good, even when I know people are going to use this year. It's not great. No, the Bills' offense has been good. They've just been playing mistakes football.
Yeah.
Now
it's a tough conference also to play in.
Yeah. So
also, I think 80% of his players are new players to North Carolina.
No, I'm talking about Joe Brady.
Oh, Joe Brady. You're talking Joe Brady.
Or the Bills. Yeah. So he's got his offense has played well. His offense is.
He also has a quarterback.
Yeah, but he also has the record-breaking offense in LSU, and then people's offense Carolina time, but it's Carolina. The offense was efficient until it wasn't. He didn't get a chance to keep developing that offense either, and he got let go. But Joe Brady's really smart. He's from Miami. He knows offense. He knows today's offense. He knows how to move the football. He knows how to vary his offense. And then, he gets away from the run game. The biggest misconception in today's NFL, that's why Greg alluded to that, running the football. That's how you win today's NFL. Yeah, that's what people think, right? And it's like,
no,
throwing the football is how you win.
No.
See, I don't know that the Bills will let them come. I don't know how the blocking works and how often they're allowed to block or anything like it.
But no,
that's a good question.
No, but for me though, you see in the NFL, running game is important, but it's a complement of, for example, you saw in college today. If it wasn't for Mark Fletcher, they don't win today. So running backs can help you slow down the game but in the end, it is about quarterback play and explosive plays. I agree with you on that. But you saw today, they won, but they're winning in Philadelphia. They're winning in spite of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has been god-awful. That coordinator who replaced Kellen Moore is a big problem for the Eagles.
He's awful.
And they're winning because of defense and in spite of their quarterback. Jalen Hurts is not having a good season.
It's more of the play calling. It has been putrid there in Philly. And it's old-fashioned. Their offensive coordinator comes from the Chan Gailey school of thought. He learned under Chan Gailey, and then which surprised me, like Nick Sirianni was his offensive coordinator when he was a quarterback coach. So he's loyal to the guy, but it's putrid. It's bad, and it's not the style of football that's conducive to winning in today's NFL.
No.
But that's what I wouldn't mind looking at Chris Shula or Jesse Mitchell either, two defensive coordinators.
I'm honestly open to anything that is a fresh start. Like if a guy comes in as a head coach executive and hires his GM, I just feel like we need to rip the Band-Aid off for once in our lives. Like just rip even if he does some amazing things with Quinn Ewers, there's that stench of Tua tied to Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's biggest success story, Bret, will be Tua 2022 and 2023, but his biggest downfall will be the fact that he held on to Tua for way too long. The way that McDaniel held on to Tua and the Dolphins held on for Tua for way too long trying to prove a point is exactly how Ross handled Grier. and how he handled Philbin and how he handles Sperano and how he handled Bret Gase. It's like enough is enough already.
Yeah.
Right?
And yeah, pretty much. I agree. Honestly, it just needs to be like, let the guy have his reins, let him run, stop hodgepodging guys together, stop putting guys like, oh, this GM, you're going to work with this head coach and you're going to make it work, even though you guys have two different ways of doing things and you don't do things the same way. You don't understand each other's way of doing it, but you're going to figure it out anyway. Like, okay, thanks. So it's like they need to have something cohesive, and that's why I would prefer to just hire a coach, let him hire his front office, or hire a GM and let him hire the guys that fit what he does from where he comes from. I'll say this, and even though it wasn't winning style of football, it was kind of old-fashioned, at least when Bill Parcells got there, the worst thing he did was promote Greer to director of scouting to put him in that position. But he did hire –
but they knew each other in New England a little bit because of Bud, right?
Because of his dad, because of Greer's dad. And then Parcells brought in Ireland, right, from Dallas. They brought in Sperano from Dallas. They all had similar philosophies. They all had like the same mentality. And it showed every draft with that. Then when Ireland got on his own, he kind of did his own thing. But they had that, like, if you're going to trade a draft pick for a player, you need to recoup the draft pick somewhere else. And I always I do like that philosophy. That's actually a smart philosophy. Like Parcells had another philosophy that I liked is try to double up on a position. Yeah. So if you want a defensive end, you can't rely on a draft, right? So you might draft two and one hits, or you might draft one. Remember they got Patrick Turner, Brian Hartline? Yeah. Brian Hartline hit. No one cared that we swung and missed on Patrick Turner. Why? Because Brian Hartline was
Patrick Turner.
Right, exactly. So that's just the kind of that's not a bad mentality. Although
the mentality of going after the D-line like they did this year wasn't a bad idea.
No, it wasn't. I see, again, I don't mind that.
I didn't like it because of the fact that you were trying to saddle Steeler being a leader on the defense, and as you saw this year, he's improved, but he started him mentoring a rookie.
Right, yeah.
I didn't see that happen.
So then you look at it, the way they did it was fine. They had the same philosophy and it worked cohesively. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the right style of football that wins today. It was very archaic, and they weren't very good at evaluating impact positions. But at least they were all on the same page.
Yeah.
And then Ireland kind of saved himself by letting Sperano get fired, which I think it should have been opposite. I do think that the last few years I've actually thought about it. If you actually fired Ireland and just gave Sperano the reins and let him hire his front office, I think Sperano would have been – I think he would have had his team winning because I think he would have went after a quarterback. Yeah. I think he would – the one thing was he would get conservative at times, though. But I do think he probably would have done things a little different. However, at the end of the day, whatever they do going forward, it has to be the same thing. I would much rather them get McDaniel – if McDaniel's going to stay, then just keep Champ Kelly. And let
McDaniel, they better pick a quarterback in the first round.
Right. And if they're going to get rid of McDaniel, then don't force – or – if they don't want to do that and they want to hire GM and force them with McDaniel, don't do that. If you're going to do it, just clean house. That's my number one choice. Just clean house.
I don't mind if they hire Champ Kelly as a general manager.
Yeah.
Because he's not a Greer guy, and then let him pick his coach. But if this is a mentality that we're bringing these guys in just because we like McDaniel, the problem with the team has been we've been too low because we like guys. That's my biggest problem right now, Bret, with Ross, is that he's keeping McDaniel around because he likes him.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not why you keep people around. Keep people around because they're able to win you football games and turn you into a contender year after year after year. Like, as much as they're saying, fire Tomlin, he hasn't had – oh, they were loving him on Monday night.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you look at the way Tomlin hasn't had a winning season in a while, right? Or he's had some struggles, hasn't really won much in playoffs or whatever. Or he's not always had winning seasons, but – yet, even with backup quarterbacks, even with constant injuries and rotation at quarterback, he still had winning seasons.
Yeah,
because he coaches. He's a very good coach. He prepares his team. And I love what he said about the Dolphins after the game. And this is something that all coaches need to be. He said, "Oh, they're riding a hot streak. They're a good team. They can hurt you. Their defense plays really good." He's all these compliments. It's not underhanded or fake compliments. He took playing the Dolphins at the same level as playing the Chiefs or the Patriots or the Bills or whoever they're playing. He took that at the same level Not like, oh, it's just the Dolphins, whatever. They're not as good. We don't have to, no, he prepares his team the same as for everybody.
Yeah.
And they're ready to go. And he coaches the same way. So, and with all the changes at quarterback he's had for injuries, and they have yet to nail their quarterback, he's still a great coach. And that's the style coach I'd like to
He
get.
hasn't hit on a quarterback since like Big Ben. Even Big Ben had his struggles. Like it's I think you and I both agree. Like I think I never thought that Greer would get fired mid-season. I didn't think Tua would ever be benched. I wanted McDaniel gone just because I just don't like the fact that he was too loyal to the way he thinks things should be done, and he doesn't adjust well at all to things, or maybe he's just incapable of adjusting.
Yeah.
But how did the season overall? Nothing surprised you this season? What surprised me, the defense actually.
No, that surprised me.
I honestly, nothing surprised me about this season. I knew this season would be a total, like, confused, dazed and confused. Like I
said 6 wins max at the beginning of the season, and I got like rolled for it.
I said 7.
Yeah, and I said, and I was like pretty confident. And then we got to this point. I was like, oh, maybe they'll win more. I don't know. We'll see. But they still could. Who knows? But what surprised me the most is I think the way the defense started, it did not surprise me at all, because I knew they were going to take a huge step back. And then I think the way they kind of settled down and started playing better, I feel like, I know it's against backup quarterbacks and all, but I feel like the defense has surprised me a little bit with how cohesive they've looked the last few weeks, how hard they've been hitting, and how well they've tackled in the open field. So I do want to say like that. I think that's been good. Everything else is about the same.
Well, you got 2 wishes this year, bro.
Well,
you did get 2 wishes this year.
Oh, I did.
You can't complain. You have to give Ross some credit. They benched Tua and they fired Greer.
Well, what surprised me the most was so much that they fired Greer. It was after they fired Greer, they went and fired the 2 head honchos of the scouting department out of there, and that's what surprised. Like, oh, all right, they mean business. They're not playing around. No. And then I think the one thing I can say that surprised me is the offensive line has actually looked really good.
Yeah.
Patrick Paul, who I think
Jonah's still
good.
Jonah makes me nervous.
Yeah, but you know what? He has.
He's a rookie.
He's been better.
But Patrick Paul, I told everyone, don't worry about Patrick Paul.
He's fine. He does his job. He's not going to run you over, but he blocks. He does his job.
I hate to break it to people. Trenches are important, but if you think trenches are the reason why you win Super Bowls and when you win playoff games, you know that all the success that Patrick Mahomes has had in his career, most of it is because of his play. His offensive line has been garbage.
Yep. And you know what's funny? If you take a look at our
what's Jared Goff done with his wonderful offensive line?
Everybody's like, well, look at the Eagles' pass rush, this and that. Name one of their top pass rushers.
Brandon Graham.
Right, like last year, like you didn't have one. Why? Because their secondary was so good. Weird how our pass rush all of a sudden started struggling after Xavier Howard and all of our good corners and secondary were gone. And I still think people owe Boyer an apology, because our secondary development has fallen off a cliff ever since they let him go.
Well, the problem with Boyer was the fact that he was saddled to McDaniel again. Like that was another Greer thing.
So that was forcing. And that's where I do. McDaniel took the job, but that's where it does suck.
What do you think here? Biggest question mark: how will they scout moving forward?
Well, see, that's going to depend. That's going to depend on what they're scouting for. So scouts in general know who's an NFL player and who's not. All they're going to do is report. This is what this player does. This is what he is. They just do a full breakdown and report of a player, right? And then like. Your head of scouting starts breaking that down and say, okay, what fits and what doesn't. And they go over it with the scouts, with the video and all that, and go from there. It's really going to depend on who's in charge, but they're going to have to start. If the right person gets in charge, they'll start scouting premium positions and start looking at, okay, we got to change this up. And that's what they're going to do. And premium positions are corner, running back, or wide receiver. Tight end and running back, if they're like elite players or possibility of being elite. So those are like hit or miss. Those are harder to find guys that like are studs, although tight ends seem to be like becoming a thing a little bit more at a younger, but usually they take time to develop. Quarterback, obviously. and then pass rushers. Now, safety, linebacker, interior defensive line, offensive line, they're not premium positions, but they're positions that like you try to get in like day 2. You don't try to spend all your first round picks on offensive line because you're just going to end up losing and being where you're at now at the same time. So I know people say we didn't invest in offensive line. That's nonsense. We've invested a lot of picks in the offensive line.
They
just picked the wrong players. Yeah. So that's been their problem. It's really mainly what they need to focus on is finding the right players, because it's like they purposely would go after the players that weren't the best ones, like going after Jamar Chase or going after Jalen Waddle instead of Jamar Chase when they could have just stayed.
I didn't mind them drafting going to 12. Why'd they go back up to 6?
Yeah, exactly. And they could have stayed put. It probably got the same play, or got Devonta Smith, or moved up a pick or 2 for Smith, and not have to get rid of it like another first. And you got the same level player. Waddle and Smith are the same level of player.
Yeah.
Hate to say it. I hate that people are going to hate that, but whatever. So like it is what it is, and that's the problem. It's they put a like, and I like Waddle as a player. I like Achane as a player, but the team almost feels like the same way that the fans do. Like, oh, they're our elite players. No, they're not elite. They're good, not great. Like we rely on good players. We've not drafted an elite player since Xavier Howard, and before that, Rashad Jones, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if you call him elite. Cam Wake was one of our last elite players that we drafted, or that we well, we didn't draft when we signed him, but I'll consider him a homegrown talent, if you will. Yeah. So
there is a game tomorrow. We're playing the Bengals. DSG, hate to break it right now. Last time I checked, Canadian, $20. Get to the game. It probably will be about round 10. You know, Bret. I don't know if you've been following this. There have been games. The game, I think it was against the Saints. I could have gone to the game for $5 Canadian 2 hours before kickoff.
Wow. That's the crazy.
NFL, because we're all sold, right? So like the Ross still making his money, but no one wants to go to these games.
That's insane, man.
You can go to a movie.
But that's what we needed, because that's where Ross was like, all right, hold up. All right, we got to make some changes.
Yeah.
Something's got to give.
The stadiums are empty, and the Dolphins travel, but the stadiums have been empty when you watch these football games in Miami. It's not going to be busy tomorrow. The game against the Bucs will be busy because it's so a lot of the snowbirds are down there at this time of the year. Mm-hmm. But what are you hoping to see tomorrow? It's the Bengals. It's the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers. I know Minka might be out. Jordan Brooks will try to play, but whether people play or not, I think is irrelevant. What are you hoping to see in tomorrow's game?
Honestly,
because they're playing a bad defense. They're playing a very bad defense.
Yeah.
They're 32nd in the NFL in many categories.
Here's the thing about I don't want any moral victories. I don't like moral victories, but I want to see the team fight. I want to see the team, if they lose, just put out a good performance. I guess you're going to call it a moral victory, but just show growth, show that your young guys have some type of fight. And I really would, honestly, I want to see them not be afraid with Quinn Ewers. Just let him go out there and make his mistakes. Let him go out there and fall on his face. It's okay. And, like, fans, just be patient. Like, I'm not saying, like, be patient. He's going to be great. At this point, he's a 7th-round pick playing in his first start. Let him fall on his face. It's okay. If he falls on his face all 3 games, it's not a big deal, because you can just move on.
It to you, a lot of first-round picks have fallen on their face in their first season.
Yeah.
People seem to forget Josh Allen was not very good.
No, he played sloppy.
Peyton Manning was not very good.
No, we beat him.
Eli Manning was not very good. Phillip Rivers was not very good.
Our last playoff win was against Peyton Manning his rookie year, I think. So, or it was his second year. But either way, exactly. Yeah. So, like, it's okay. Like, he's going to fall on his face. Like, if he does,
that's the one thing, though. Could you see, though?
Just basically what I'm saying is play as if the season's not over.
No, but the thing I'm worried about tomorrow, Bret, and this is what I'm a little worried about, is there's going to be a distinction between him and McDaniel, and people. I could see airplanes. I could see a law firm saying fire McDaniel tomorrow. I could see people booing McDaniel if the offense isn't moving, and I don't want Quinn Ewers. That's my problem with Quinn Ewers. I don't want him to get spoiled or get trashed on and get his career get affected by the fact that Mike McDaniel
get David Card.
Yeah, I feel like Mike McDaniel could either help him, but it's more likely that he might hurt him, just because of his lack of. Like tomorrow, this should be a game where yes, you want to throw the ball, you want to see him fight, but you do need to make sure Achan, Wright, Gordon are there. Like I think that if you run the same offense you ran for Tua for yours is going to have more success.
Probably, yeah.
Because some of his play designs are very, very intuitive. It's just you need the quarterback to actually be able to implement his plays. Right?
No, I agree.
So,
Like,
do you expect him to win another game this season? Do you feel
No.
yours and the team has the ability to win these games?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect them to win any games with Tua starting, so I don't expect them to win any games like the rest of the season.
Is that a failure to you?
Going 0-4, yeah. That's a failure.
Is that on the quarterback or is that on the coach?
It's on everything. Just it's on the quarterback, it's on the coach, it's on.
If they finish with 6 wins,
yeah, it's a failure.
Black Monday, he's fired.
I don't know.
Can they bring him back? Can they actually bring him back, Bret?
If they lose
if
out,
they look awful the next 3 games. How can they say to their fans, he's the coach? He couldn't win with you. He couldn't because. By the way, you know who? Remember who Brock Purdy's first victory was against?
It was us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, he didn't start. Right? He had to come in.
He had to come in.
Yep.
No, he started the game.
I thought he came in for.
No, he started the game.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. So
no, he started the game.
Mike McDaniel was 34-32. He's got 3 more games. So he's got 3 more games, and he can either be, 37-32, or he could be, he'll be 34-35. He loses all 3. He would have to what? He has to win 2 games in order to stay above 500. If he loses 2 of his games, he's below 500.
How do you justify to your fans? You can't put it on Tua. As bad as Tua wasn't as bad as Greer is.
No, yeah,
How do you justify to your fan base that you're bringing back a coach who has a losing record and is in his 5th year?
Wait a minute, I'm wrong
because
here.
This doesn't go against the cap, so I don't want to hear he's extended for 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I hate to break it to you, Bret. Do you know that Greer got an extension last year too?
Do what?
Greer got an extension at the exact same time as McDaniel.
Yeah,
they fired him.
Well, I said when I've said before we gave Philbin an extension, the next year fired him in the season. Gave Sparano extension, fired him in the season. Gase, did he get an extension that year? No, because he got fired at the year 3. So I don't think McDaniel. So that's the one thing I keep saying. Like McDaniel got fired or got an extension.
Welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome to the network. We'll be on again tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Check us out in the pregame show and postgame shows. It'll be a lot of fun. Welcome to the network. Thank you for watching.
But that extension, I want to know if those extensions are like Ross's way of saying I can get rid of you and then I could just pay you out in payments instead of one lump sum kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like it to us, it doesn't sound right, but to like a billionaire who's cutting millions of dollars in checks, it's like, I could break up your checks so I don't have to sit there and take lump sums out every year to pay you. I could break it up and pay you less. You know what I mean? So like, I kind of feel like that's something that why he gives extensions, so he can fire him, not to worry about it. And if he doesn't fire him, hey, you get to stay. So it's kind of like a win-win. But I can see him firing McDaniel. Because like with that, so
they can afford.
Who knows?
Well, let me ask you. I never asked you the question outright. You agree with me? They need to cut. He should be a post-June 1st cut, right?
Tua?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
cut and
trade's the same. Cut.
Post-June 1st.
Yeah.
And they can make it work.
But like, I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
I would trade him. Or
I have a question for you.
I would see what I could get out of a trade and then try to work so somebody will take his money.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
As bad as he's been this year, one person that Bobby's been a big fan of and actually would consider giving the reins to is Pete Carroll.
So
does Pete Carroll have anything left? Or is it just a circumstance in Vegas?
I don't know. We originally hired Adam Gase. A lot of guys wanted Tom Coughlin and a successor with him. And the idea makes sense, but I don't know that's – I don't know. I like Pete Carroll what he's done in Seattle, the philosophy he has and the way he builds teams is very good. He's very, very smart team builder. I just don't know that I bring him into this one. I don't know how much he has left, but he's a smart. He knows how to win football games, and knows how to do it in today's NFL. He knows how to build talent.
So what's your prediction for tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
over under Quinn Ewers 200 yards passing. Does he surpass Tua's ineptitude of the last couple of weeks?
I'll say over. I'll give him like 210, 215. But I think he's going to. I think Miami loses, and I'm going to say Burrow has a day. I don't see them get blown out or nothing.
But Burrow looks like he has no interest in playing football.
Yeah, but last week was rough against a good team. I think Burrow's going to light us up. I think it's going to be like a 28-10.
You really think it's going to be that bad for yours? You think the defense is going to give up 28 points like that at home?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say 20. I'll stick with 28-10.
Will McDaniel survive? Could McDaniel lose his job before the season's actually over if they get killed tomorrow at home?
I mean, if they get crushed,
if they get crushed tomorrow, if they lose like 40-3.
Yeah.
Do you fire him? If they get on home field, or do they just ride this out with him? How many Bret? I don't know about you. Do you watch the press conferences at all?
A little bit sometimes. It depends on the game.
He's very hard to watch, Bret.
Who, McDaniel?
He does not look like he has a representation of his team. Like when people make the joke of Belichick saying on to Cincinnati or the cheeseburgers with Reed the man, they at least look like they're.
He did.
You know.
I feel like he's always
not a good representative. Him and Tua are not good representatives.
I feel like he's one of those guys who thinks faster than he can talk.
He answers the question.
And he's trying to get it out there.
Minutes, one question.
Yeah, and he's trying to riddle it, so he's not giving you enough information. But sometimes less is more in those situations, and it's like you just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the only thing about firing McDaniel now in season, it's like
I want to see what Weaver has. I just
who's your interim? Yeah, the only problem is with your interim. What a lot of teams do when they fire a head coach, they'll leave everybody else in place. You bring a head coach in, and this is who we have. You make your decision on your coach. And you might have a head coach who says, I want to keep Weaver. I want to keep, so you try to it's hard sometimes for a guy to step up as an interim head coach and step back down, especially to a coordinator, and especially when he has other possibilities. So the one, who do we have? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank today. Our running back coach actually stepped in to be an interim head coach at some point.
I agree with you.
And then he stepped back.
He dubbed Dolphins. I 100% agree with you.
But I think with us, with this whole thing, I think just ride it out with McDaniel to the end of the year. See if the players have fight left for him. I don't know.
I kind of think they gave up on him. I think they've been slowly giving up on him because I think that, like I said, I remember I said this to you. I think his biggest downfall will be Tua. Mm-hmm. I thought Tua should have been sacked weeks ago.
The problem is, though, again, it's really hard to convince your ownership and GM paying a quarterback $50 million when you're on a win streak to bench your quarterback. That's the hard part. It's hard to go to your ownership and say, hey, I got to bench this guy.
Drew Bledsoe never got the job back. Never got his job back.
But Brady came in.
Get his job back.
But Brady, if Tua got hurt and they were on a win streak, that'd be all. Then you're on a different situation where you're saying, do I bench him? My starter wants to come back, and the guy currently in is winning, but only if we're winning in spite of that quarterback, though we need our starter back. So, no, if that was the situation, then it'd be opposite. Like, shit, do they start Tua again?
Yeah. But I actually hope, and I agree with DSG. I want Ewers to succeed. To only remind everybody, because if Ewers balls out, Bret, it actually doesn't make McDaniel look good. It actually makes him look worse, in my mind, because what was he waiting for?
Well, if he looks good, it makes McDaniel look even better to say like, yeah, look at that 2023 was my coaching and Tyreek Hill, not
What
Tua,
was he doing for
which
the last?
it was.
Then
But
why would you
you
leave
can
Tua
only
in there?
do so. You can only hide limitations, and Tua
Why
has
would
a
he leave
lot
in
of
there?
them for so long. Well, I don't know. Like, is Quinn Ewers ready or not? And again, during the win streak,
Tua
that's hard.
wasn't
That's
ready.
hard to
Tua
bench
wasn't
him.
ready, and they forced him.
I know, but it's hard to bench your starting quarterback for a 7th-round rookie during a win streak. Now, if he did it earlier in the season when Tua was playing even worse and throwing interceptions, it's like, why didn't you do it then?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it. I agree. Like, why couldn't we do it before? But it's like, you went the win streak, the bye week, like, ugh.
Yeah.
So to like being with perspective, but
No, honestly, McDaniel, whether it was him, whether it was Sean Kelly, I'm happy that at least we get to see something else. I can't watch
Yeah.
it anymore.
yeah,
It was almost like it was literally laughable. We was like the inability to play quarterback and to get up and laugh about it. Oh, it's okay. Next
Yeah.
time, it's all good, guys. But the
Like-
defense, I hate Tua. I
Like,
hate Tua.
watching Tua play football is like watching my 2-year-old do anything. It's like normal things for an adult to do: getting dressed, putting your shoes on, eating, walking.
Yeah.
That's watching Tua play football.
Yeah.
It's like it's not. It doesn't look natural at all. It looks cumbersome. It looks slow.
He looks
It looks-
uncomfortable.
Yeah, he just doesn't look. And then you go watch all these. You watch other games. And it's like, man, these offenses can actually move the football. Oh wow, this quarterback can actually throw a football. Oh hey, look, he threw it away. Oh hey, look, that quarterback ran. That's allowed. Like, oh hey, that quarterback got hit and didn't get a concussion. Holy hell. Oh, he actually slid and made the first down. Oh,
Oh,
that's cool.
Did you see last week how excited he was that he got the first down but didn't get it?
Yeah.
He can't slide.
Well, he could before. He
doesn't
he's
know
so-
where to stop.
he's
he doesn't
so
see the
stiff.
marker.
He's so up here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I've said it before.
Diaz
So
does not have football instincts.
back in the day, a few years ago, Carson Palmer was saying, Jordan Palmer, his brother was saying, when it comes to confidence, you have wavering confidence and true confidence. And he was talking about true confidence, basically Joe Burrow, like it's no matter what, nothing changes. You're even keel. You have a bad day, good day, doesn't matter. Your confidence never wavers. You throw 5 interceptions, you don't drop off. You just say, I had a bad freaking game. I was terrible today, but I'm not terrible as a quarterback. But I had a terrible game and I played terrible. I played like hell. Joe Burrow literally just said that. He goes, nobody's going to win the game with the way I've been playing. That's no team with me is going to win the way I played. And I'm like, that's him not saying I'm a bad quarterback and saying my play hasn't been good enough. I need to be better. He's not saying he sucks. Where Tua was like, oh, do I suck? And that's wavering confidence. Oh.
I agree with this, but let me see what you think. I don't trust McDaniel's QB evaluation skills. He went to bat for Tua, and Tua got that burdensome contract. Let's see what yours to do. Hopefully he'll perform out of it. I agree. I'm telling you, he does not get that contract.
I mean, that's a good point because Tua did say, if I don't start over Hurts, I'm going to USC.
Who cares? And then
You know what I mean? Like he pouts.
By the way,
also he took the job.
Had they kept Hurts, they would have won another national championship.
Well, yeah, but then he said, with that whole thing, he came in with the idea he had to fix Tua and he had to help Tua, build him up and all that stuff. I still don't know what to believe with our media because our media is questionable, and you could tell sometimes.
Depends on who.
Yeah, and a lot of them were like trying to sell Tua on. I'm like, what is
this? I know
who
you're referring to.
Well, there's a handful of them. I'm like,
there's two.
Like, you guys suck at this media thing. And then they're just like pushing it. I'm like, I'm not believing half the nonsense coming out.
There's only two of them. Hyde does not do it. Coopart does not do it. Habit does not do it. It's Shad and Kelly.
Oh yeah. But looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what to believe. And I know when it comes down to it, McDaniel is not dumb. Like, he knows how to move the football on defenses, and he's come up with a lot of creative ways to do so. And he's smart. Like, he knows. I don't know that he knows how to evaluate quarterbacks or not, but I could tell you he's. I can tell you he knows a lot more than Greer, and I think he would probably want someone different than Greer or different than Tua if he had a choice.
I like the aura of Kelly, but I don't know what to expect.
What, Omar Kelly?
No, Sam Kelly.
I don't know. Like I don't know.
Maybe it's the look. Maybe it's the look. It's the style. It's the demeanor.
I can tell you, reports, and I know we just talk about media. If the reports are accurate, he's not a fan of Tua.
Who's this? Oh, I don't think he is. I think that I actually think it's more Kelly than it is McDaniel. I think it's Shem Kelly and Brandon Chore who are pushing this. I don't think it's McDaniel. McDaniel might be okay with it, but I really think it's actually been pushed by the people in management right now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
So, anyways, guys, we're almost an hour and 53 minutes into the show. We appreciate everyone watching so far. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any final words, Bret? Do you have anything else you want to talk about tonight?
No, I think we'll fall. It's going to be interesting going forward. We'll see what happens, and we'll see where things go, and be ready for an interesting couple of weeks. And
at least it'll be fun. At least it'll be different. At least we can evaluate the team a little bit.
Yeah, and now at least we didn't go to year 7. If hopefully we get out of this year, so you're not going into year 7 like we did with Tannehill and just waiting another year to draft a quarterback. I'd rather suck in 26 and get a quarterback at 27 than suck this year, suck next year, and get a quarterback at 28. Yeah. That would be just so Dolphins.
Yeah, I know. So, guys, tomorrow, 11 a.m., I may or may not be there. I'm going to be in and out traveling. We have the Dolphins pregame show with Bobby Finstock, Bobby Melendez, and Sammy Chico. Guys, Dolphins game was flexed out. Thank God it was flexed out, or else probably they would have put 2 in. We're playing at 1 o'clock, and after that at 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m., we're going to see the time. You'll have the post-game show with myself and Sammy. Bobby may not be able to make it, but I'll be traveling, but I'll make time for the game with the post-game show. I'm going to be listening to the game and watching it while I'm traveling. Guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bret, we have to do this more regularly. You tell me when you're free, whether it's Friday night, Saturday nights, we'll find the time. Hopefully Greg will be able to join us next time. Hope he has a great time in Tennessee with his wife and has a good time. Fortunately, when you're in the cabins in the woods, the internet's not always guaranteed there. So, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I know it's always hard for us to say this, but as always, fins up.
Fins up.